Janet Baker.
Great. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda. We have a couple of changes that we're going to make on it. One, we're going to punt item 9, the 2026-27 schedule update to December. And then on the second page under the DOE project update, item C, the solar pavilion. 10C, thank you. We're going to make that one flexible for when Brent Foster shows up. We will shift our agenda around to accommodate his schedule since he'll be joining us online. Any other additions or changes to the agenda? Okay. Could I get a motion to approve it?
Motion to put the agenda as edited.
Thank you. Second. McKenna's first. All those in favor? Great, motion passes. Thank you. I did not receive any pre-submitted public comments. Did anybody else? I guess a reminder, if anybody's out there listening, if you do have comments that you would like to share with the board, you can always email those to me, and my email address is emilysprans@northwasco.k12.or.us. And that is available on the school's website. Could we please look at the October 21st meeting minutes? Any changes to those?
Maureen, was it the month before that I sent you the changes for?
Yes. Okay, yeah. I did notice on page 9 on the garden updates, it said that we were awarded the, grant from like state of Oregon, but I think it's actually, we just applied for it. So that's one change on page 9, but everyone's fine. Yeah, not, hopefully we'll be awarded it, but we don't.
And what was the name of the grant that's doing that?
I think it's like, women in agriculture. It was something kind of like that. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Wait, go, chair, and we'll tell you when it's your turn, okay?
Welcome.
Thanks.
We could do that as that,
Or under the report.
oh, we can do it in my report, because I think we'll get there.
Okay. We'll go quick. Or, yeah. Okay,
Maybe after the change the report.
okay. So let's scooch back real quick to approve the agenda.
Student report after the MTA report.
Okay. So we have a student here joining us today, which will be very exciting to give us a report from the middle school. So can I get a second? Second from Tiffany. All those in favor? Great, thank you, motion passes. Okay. Wonderful. And then, sorry, I'm making things confusing right now. I don't think that we had a motion to approve the minutes. Did you say it?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the October 1st meeting minutes.
With the edits to the patient.
Okay, great. Okay. McKenna, all those in favor? Motion passes, thank you. Okay, I think we got the housekeeping out of the way. Could we please hear how it's going from the MTA?
Yes, and unfortunately, we have 2 reports to, well, 2.5 reports to make. Second and third grade, we're excited that we had OMSI visit, so they did a traveling field trip with us, and they came to connect our students to science and our study of forces. And they did a hands-on activity to build marble roller coasters. So that was a fun to watch them. And I asked, at least my kids at the end, what they loved most about the activity. And a lot of them said working together, teamwork, having fun, and that's kind of made my heart very happy to hear that they really just love being together and working together. Students are also demonstrating their science knowledge by creating a ride or a game that uses push-pull, magnetism, and or gravity. Students are problem solving, collaborating, and working out the best ways to make their creations. So that'll kind of our culminating activity for their science unit is to create a playground game or ride that uses one of the forces that we've talked about. We've begun sending home word study / spelling homework. Most students have been eagerly awaiting homework and are thrilled when it goes home. We are comparing and contrasting in reading, looking at characters and themes. In third grade math, we are diving deeper into learning multiplication facts. We have learned the foundations to multiplication. So now we begin the strategies to solve different multiplication.
K1 sent in a report. They had, let's see this was fun, but they had a video call with an ecologist who answered a lot of their questions. So it was live and interactive with them, about some of the animals that they've been studying around the country. Thursday, we're headed to the zoo, so they're, wrapping up their animals and habitats unit, so then they can go observe some of that at the zoo. They've been drawing animals, making collage habitats throughout the unit. And they're gonna be making these into a book after Thanksgiving. They're nearing the end of their labeling unit in writing, which is working on, and we'll be working on writing complete sentences in December in preparation for a narrative writing unit. Ms. Johnson received a D21 grant, purchased hands-on literacy games and activities to support kindergarten in their reading and language development.
And then from the MTA, we just, we met with the D21 union last week, and there's still not a signed contract for the D21 staff, so we're standing in solidarity with them, and we're eternally grateful that we have one, that it is, yes, very much appreciated, so.
Elijah,
Thank you. So any questions or comments?
bring a chair,
Thank you. Okay, would you like to introduce Elijah?
This is Elijah. Elijah, I'm not sure I'm gonna pronounce your last name right. Is it Kuel? How do you pronounce your last name?
Where should I put this?
Right where you're at, right there. Perfect.
My last name is German and Polish. It's pronounced Keenel.
Eno, okay, see, I knew
So
I didn't.
it's
I just know it's
K-
Elijah.
It's spelled Kuehnl, but pronounced Kenul.
Thank you.
Alright.
Okay, and Elijah is a sixth grader, and this is your first year at Mosier. And he actually said, have you done this at North Wasco School Board meeting before?
I did this for 7 months at North Gloucester.
So he said, do you have somebody that does this? And I said, we do not, and we would love to have you. And so, Elijah's kind of written it up. He practiced it a little bit today, so are you ready to go?
So, about that, I forgot my paper, I think.
Do you want me to print it out? Cause I have it.
I think I could do this by.
Okay,
memory.
just do what you do. Do what you can.
So, it's an honor to be speaking with all tonight, and here's the news. I'm doing late October in this month of November. So on Halloween, we did a costume march around the gym where students got to show off their costume and get a prize, which was, kernel corn. And then, let me think.
Here, you wanna read?
Yes.
We'll plug you right back in. You can take that. Okay, we're still on. We're just an extra.
After the walk in October, we also tried a new way to get lunch done in middle school. The sixth graders have recess with the fourth and fifth grade students. During this time, the seventh and eighth graders are eating lunch. Then we switch, and the sixth graders eat lunch while the seventh and eighth grade students have recess. Okay, now it's time for November news. This week in the middle school, all of the students are working on projects to show everyone how harmful pollution can be and how we can decrease pollution levels in the earth. Some people are making projects. My project is I am showing a map of 2 globes, and one from 2025 and one from 2125. with the estimated changes if pollution stays the same and what will happen in those years to come. On Thursday, the middle school is taking a field trip to Experiment PDX. At this location, we will learn about Lego robotics while we are traveling to Portland. So are the kindergarten and first graders. Okay, sorry, I need to scroll down. Hold on. They're going to the Oregon Zoo. Also on Thursday, Mosier will host the Mosier alumni for a Thanksgiving meal. The fourth and fifth grade students will set up, serve and clean up. The second and third grade students will entertain them. We also just found out that the November skate night has been canceled. The next skate night will be January 23rd. Our first trimester of school ends on Thursday and the school has been very busy. On November 7th, we had a movie night where the middle school kids watched the Hunger Games. Pretty good night. We had soda
Right here, they
popcorn.
did it right here.
Box packed.
In December, we have the holiday fair on December 6th and 7th. Students could also sell items at the fair. We also have Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory play on December 12th and 13th, which I'm in. Thank you for listening.
Who are you and Willy Wonka?
I'm Mr. Bucket.
Oh, great, okay.
We're doing the Johnny Depp one, so Charlie's dad isn't dead.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't know there's a different space.
All right, goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye, Alice, thank you. Bye. And welcome back.
Thank you for bringing him.
Bye. Very cool. Have fun. We do that all the time. Okay. Great. Shannon, let's go to you next for.
I don't think I compete with that. All right, so business manager updates for today. Recently completed financial projects. We did an OEBB review of the 24-25 year and made some corrections in payroll. We needed to reimburse employees for benefits that were incorrectly deducted from their paychecks from October 2024 to September 2025. So that was a total of about $1,500 that we reimbursed a bunch of employees. And then with that, there was $133 in payroll taxes that we as this district covered for that. What else? Open financial projects. Did anybody have any questions about that OEPB review? Okay. I went down a rabbit hole and so.
Do you have a sense of why we made those mistakes?
I don't know why. What I do know is that, some employees were charged for dental when they shouldn't have been because, the district, our school covers, employee dental and vision. So it was almost always the dental or vision. There was a few short-term disability and long-term disabilities that were charged when the employee hasn't signed up for that. So I, in retrospect, went through all of that and I also double checked to make sure that this year's deductions are,
It might have been when we changed, because remember, we were doing QuickBooks and we changed to Paylocity, and I think that that's kind of when they started, and I think it was kind of the transition from one to the other.
because it's a different input. We input the district paid deductions that are actually considered earnings on the employee part because they aren't paying for them, so they're not deducted, but they're considered earnings because they're a benefit. And so that's probably where it happened. Open financial projects audit 24-25 audit is underway and making progress. The DOE invoicing, a second invoice has been uploaded to Vipers and corrections were requested. The 2024-990 extension was filed, waiting on financials from Rogers. The DOE status, all contractors are in the LCP time tracking program, which is part of DOE, and reports are reviewed weekly. Second invoice corrections being made in Vipers.
And they were made and submitted today.
Right. List of funds spent so far are in the financial packet. No invoices are currently open in our AP system. We applied for a no-cost time extension with DOE for 1 year. Current deadline was September 30th, 2025, and proposed extension is September 30th, 2026. Reports for the third quarter were submitted in a timely fashion.
I have a question about that. Does Christian have an idea or someone over there of when they're going to address that extension?
So it's on its way up the ladder. It has to be signed by the Secretary of the Department of Energy.
Hmm.
And they had an interim at one time and with the government shutdown, that kind of fogged up the pipeline. I was on a call with another group and they had told me they had applied in April. We hadn't seen theirs, but Christian made it sound like, he made it sound pretty like, oh, it should be any day now.
Yeah.
But we are virtually stopped with anything until we get that, because if we don't get it, what he's saying is, like, we couldn't go do the windows because that has been approved, but they can't guarantee if they don't get the extension that they would. So we're just waiting until we get that.
But he did, when we met with him like maybe 2 weeks ago, he made it sound like it had already been as high as it needed to go, and now it's trickling back down.
Down.
For what that's worth.
Yeah.
It's slow trickle.
Yeah.
All right, 2026 or 25-26 budget highlights. There have been other construction projects, not DOE related, that have been completed. Examples of flooring, concrete, etc. These transactions are highlighted in a capital projects transactions report to show the impact on the LGIP fund balances. The budget is on track for this year. Payroll is at 30%, which it should be, and supplies are at 54%, which we anticipated due to teachers purchases made earlier in the school year. So that's just normal. They're trying to prepare their classroom, so they're purchasing a bunch of supplies to get ready for it. There have been multiple successful fundraisers for the schools, clubs, and field trips this year. Student counts are strong and significantly more than last year. This will result in positive ADM corrections in the future. So we have been contacting North Wasco, trying to raise our ADM numbers, because Michelle had conservatively put them in last year.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, North Wasco
did that for
did a
us.
conservative
That after.
choice on what our numbers should be, and so we've been trying to increase that.
When do they get counted?
So they get counted in November and then again in May, but they are doing something different this year where they are making corrections because so many schools have lost students. And so what we understand is they want it to be as accurate as possible. That's their goal. It doesn't seem like it's been changed yet, so we're still kind of waiting, but it could be, while we have increased ours, North Bosco's has stayed the same, but it could be because they've lost them, and so we're just kind of waiting. Dan Peterson is working with us, and he's been really good.
Yeah, they have on the North Bosco board meetings, they have like a tracking of that, and when I looked last, I think we were the only ones who had increased or stayed the same. I think we had increased, but it wasn't marked on there. Everybody else was.
Yeah.
Statewide, that's the majority.
Yeah, there's definitely. Just also there is talk about Oregon, asking for some of their funding back, like they said, oh, you have $100,000, and then actually forget that, we're only giving 90,000, so it's just a thing, and so, a lot of school districts are scrambling a bit. That also has to do with the federal, well, not the shutdown, just the federal, decreasing spending, with, English second language, even special education services, migrant services, they're kind of cutting back on funding. For us, that doesn't directly impact us as much because all of our special education services come through North Wasco. Our Title I services come through North Wasco. And so, Veronica and Jen, I don't feel like the hit's going to be big for us. But we just want to know, like, is working out there. But I just read today that Oregon is trying to, they have other kind of pots of money for rainy days, and they're asking to use those funds. Which is kind of crazy. like, we're all getting a huge kicker back. So, yet their, their revenue is down.
And then just the last thing is the PE position is open and we have been, interviewing, potential hires, so.
How many of you have, so we've interviewed two, we have one more to interview, and hope is that we'll have a recommendation to hire on Friday, if the group all agrees on that. We have three strong candidates, three very strong candidates.
Our little owl is misbehaving, I think.
Misbehaving.
It won't look down now. There we
It's
go.
supposed to follow the speaker, so maybe it followed the,
And here's this computer over here and it keeps focusing on this computer.
do you wanna pull it closer?
Do you want me to turn?
Yeah, can you make it closer to the way you guys are talking?
See if that helps.
So would we wait until December then to, or?
Well,
Well,
the
we
hope
need a
is
special
we make a decision and, on Friday, and then it's really gonna depend. All three candidates would have probably a different start time. And so it's gonna
Okay.
depend on who we choose.
Okay.
Yeah, and as a team, we have we have 6 members, I'm trying to count around the table. So we have 6 staff members that are, busy in the interview process, and we interview, we talk, we'll have a scoring sheet, we'll score it, and
Can
then
you turn it?
kind of adapt that thing, but, sometimes you'll just kind of do things, but, again, they're all 3 very different candidates, but all have really great strengths to them, so.
I guess the last thing really quick is just because of the holidays and the big holidays, payroll is going to be November 26th instead of the 28th this month, and then also December will be December 23rd, December 23rd instead of December 28th.
And Shannon was really proactive in emailing that out, because last year was a little bit, we had set up things being on the 28th, and I think they had been used to being paid prior to that, so we just like, here's when you're gonna pay, and Lisa can say that, and she said that they all really appreciated that.
Oh, good. Let them know on staff and let them know that they checks will be earlier.
Because it's normally on the 28th.
This time of year is probably nicer, like.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. I figured it'd be nicer before Thanksgiving.
Okay, and, because we talked for a while about doing like a kind of a budget or a school financial deep dive. And so we're gonna try to schedule that for February. So I'll reach out. It's gonna be a special meeting. It's not gonna be attached to our normal board meeting. It'll be just a couple hours, but hopefully we'll have some questions, or we can get, any questions or information needs to Shannon before the meeting, and then we can ask questions during. So Shannon said that should work. Yes.
Are you referring to the transportation now? Like
Not
that?
the
Just
transportation,
not,
no,
just
just
like
like
general, all
yeah.
of it.
All of our things.
More like a
'Cause I-
board
yeah.
member budget education.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great, yeah.
We're all the same.
Budget for board members, 101.
That's great. Okay, and so in February, yeah, and I can reach out to folks to help schedule that.
Do we want to make it, we would want to invite the community, like larger districts too, or?
They
board
be a
meeting, so
public
It's
meeting?
just, it's not a public committee,
it's just.
right, so we would notice it.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's just gonna be,
Just like a
it's just like a
special
special
meeting.
session, a special board.
so anybody can come and we'll be online and all of that. Okay. I have a question. So you said that we're right on track with payroll. And when I looked at the budget detail, to me, it looks like we're over budget on payroll. For like
She
the
said
last
we've only
couple
spent
months.
30%.
So you're looking at that 30% is like for the year,
Correct.
but for each month, for a couple months, we're over.
Well, 30%, so we did September, October, November, that's 30%.
Got it. Okay. This could also be a question that I asked in February.
Okay. It might be.
The big Excel spreadsheet that has like,
So you should be looking at this one right here.
I looked at that one too.
So if you look at it under expensive, it says salaries. If you go to it, it does say over budget, but don't look at that. It's a
Okay.
percent of budget that you wanna look at, which is at 32.93. We should be at 33%, but we're at the first trimester. So.
Okay. Yeah, So like, just even like little things like that. Like,
Yeah.
You don't need to look at that number, you
Yeah.
need to, okay, that's fine.
And just saying, like, for the supplies, because our biggest expense is obviously our people. The second one, like this, is our capital projects that we're doing. And then supplies, teachers buy a ton in the beginning of the year. They kind of taper off in the middle, and then they're gonna buy a little bit, another ton at the end of the year. They get on this.
But April, May,
Yeah.
there'll be another huge jump.
We have said to them that, we, John has a pretty tight rein on that. So they all have a budget of $500. It's all, Veronica's made a tracking system for them. We have an expenditure sheet. They can see where they've spent, what they haven't spent. I do want to say, like, we have some very, innovative teachers that are, and hustlers. They go out and get like these small grants for anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. I think we had 3 teachers like this.
We did it. We did have 3.
Yeah, Ashley Thorne's got a grant, got one, and they're covered, and that was for secrets, so,
Okay.
they're out there hustling, getting their money, so, yeah.
Great. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, Marie?
Yeah, I wonder if we could go back to, what the board used to do. When I first came in 23, we would review, and we wouldn't do this in public session, but review payroll, and credit card registers. And I wonder if those statements would get popped in the board financial.
So Veronica would like to talk to the board about that. She feels like, that like is the treasurer, like Adelia should go through that. Going through all of that would be like, I don't know, would be a lot.
It is, there's like 50 something transactions each week, and depending on the bank account, it's just a lot to absorb at once. But for maybe the treasurer to go through, if you always have questions, I mean.
And she does have the statement of like, so you can see the balances of every account because that is in the financial packet.
She
So-
did update that, so it's more, that was the statement of financial position, so it does list like she said, the balance of each one of the accounts is.
So if you go, yeah, in the finance one, if you go into the,
Statement of financial position.
I don't see the harm in having it up there. If it's available in the folder, just not being sent this a bunch of
Yeah.
questions about it as a meeting. Sorry to.
No, that's okay. I was gonna say the same thing.
So I think like having it posted doesn't,
having
hurt
it,
For us,
in the
just in
board
the board
folder,
financials.
not something that's part of the meeting, but the board members have access to. And then if there's a question, they can refer to the treasurer.
I mean, yeah, I think Veronica was, what her question was like, she just wanna make sure like she understood what it was that you wanted, so.
I wonder
Well, I
if
think
maybe,
I just remember it being helpful, and we had noticed some, transactions, and, it also kind of gave the board, I think, a better idea of all of the things that happen, and, it's just more eyes on, what's happening, and not, board members are not supposed to get into the weeds necessarily, however, I think of just access to the statements can be helpful if there are questions that arise, and I mean, it's a lot, even just for the treasurer to take on a meeting, so if the treasurer is able to, have other board members support them.
Sure, yeah, and I know she did put in the LGIP withdrawals in the board financials so far, so.
yeah, I almost wonder if, I don't know how much work that adds on to Veronica or Shannon to do that. But I wonder if maybe we table the request for right now and have that deep dive special session. So we get the whole picture, whole comprehensive picture, and also like some conversation, just remind us, because you've already said all these things, but, so the processes that have been put in place to prevent situations like we had with the overpayment.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's where was stemming from. Like we were wanting to make sure that we have our eyes on some of the details that we missed.
Well, there were practices that were in place, and then the school went through transition and didn't have a business manager. And, I mean, it was particularly useful in that time because, the board was,
Yeah, and I mean, I just wanna say like,
It's still-
right now you do have like Veronica's looking at them, I'm looking at them, Shannon's looking at them, and Amelia has access to all of them, so you have 4 sets of eyes that are on there. And I just worry about getting lost in the weeds part of it, because, I think, like, if we're looking at the overall, where we're at financially as far as like the balances of those and like those, like, and how, I mean, and you should be able to see it on, I think it is on the expenditure one, the budget summary, it's that big one. Is it the?
Yeah, but
the
that
spreadsheet?
wouldn't have shown us that we are like our overpaying the staff.
Yeah.
That can,
That's where like that.
So I don't know that you would have noticed that either.
Well,
The overpayment
if
to
we
the
were
staff.
looking at it at that time, which we were.
Well, and you wouldn't have seen
I
it
don't think you
probably
would
in
have noticed it. I don't think you would
it
have
wouldn't have been
noticed
in the check registers, right? It
Yeah.
would have been more in the Paylocity
In the-
reports and that you're not gonna get access to.
Yeah.
So that's, but now that we have 3 and sometimes 4 with Amelia looking at it, it's very, I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen again, but I'm, you know, we've got it. I'm just saying that it's, the chances are very slim with as many people as eyes on it now that there are.
But let's talk to her, I think that maybe, we'll talk to Veronica a little bit more about it. I think she's just wondering, like, how deep is it you want, like, if you wanna see every single line item, that is gonna be work for her. Because they're in spreadsheets that she has to figure out. She does have the reconciliations. I think that she also does worry about like having lots of people have access to stuff is also kind of worrisome as well. But let's have a
So we could
conversation.
also, probably, I could probably find an example of a
It was
student we
just-
would have looked
Yeah,
at.
it was just statements, so it was like, it was a credit card statement, and a big statement that just showed that, and it was available for board members to look at, and if they had a question, they
Okay.
could bring it up. I think in the interest of time, having it brought through the treasurer is not a bad idea, but that allows board members to, if they have the time to do it, go through and like, what's this about? Like, ask the treasurer.
Mhm.
I don't wanna burden you all with those kinds of things, but it helped in the past for transparency like that.
And in the future, I mean, right now we have a treasurer who's super financially literate, so we're very lucky. However, we may have board members in the future, you know, every year or so who maybe our financial staff, however, they can't take on the treasurer's role, however they, you know, anyways. You know, it's not to burden anyone, and I know it is, however, the intention is just to set the board and make a, you know, try to create a structure where no matter who's sitting on the board is like people and to.
Do you?
So you want access to, because Umpqua has 4 checking accounts. We have our HRA, we have the nutritional services, we have the Tiger's Den, and then we have our main checking account.
Do we feel comfortable tabling this until that February meeting? And then like looking at everything and saying what we want, or do you think we want us to?
I think that would be a good place to start.
I personally don't even know what I would ask for because I like, am such a big picture visual person that I need to see it all and then be like, oh, what about this? But like, if you have a good sense of what it is you want, we can do that now or we can wait.
You know, from what I recall, it was, you know, payroll register per month that we were doing, and then credit card statements per month. And, you know, it allowed the board to see, oh, who are the, you know, who's offering the services, like the dishwasher. I mean, there's all kinds of things that, you know, services the school receives that as a board member, you don't realize until you look at the register. So those were the 2. The Umpqua, I don't know, that one is.
So are you saying that, I want to be clear, because I hear you saying the payroll register.
But in
But
the
you don't
past,
have-
it was just a check register, the checks were written to the checking account, so it's different
Okay, so
now.
that's different
Right,
than, okay,
understood.
because so we have, again, we have 4 checking accounts, the main checking account, all that. We get a payroll review. Again, I want to like kind of really look at that because I'm not sure, like, I think that people's salaries are public record. I'm not sure like their deductions are public, like what we're deducting if you're doing a HRA or something like that. That's where I worry about people's privacy, like showing you a paycheck stub for everybody. Because sometimes people have garnishments.
Yeah, I don't think
So we
that's
don't want,
appropriate.
we don't
That's
want
what-
That was never something that we saw.
Okay.
You never
Okay,
saw.
well, so because right now, I mean, we have the checking, we have the 4 checking accounts, and the good news is we only have one. We have one main credit card that has 6 different people have a credit card on it. So, but you could see the whole credit card statement, you can see that. So that wouldn't be she just have to upload the PDF to that, so that's.
Can I make a motion, and we can discuss further, that we table this for now, but that we come forward with examples of what we've seen in the past, so you can understand what they ask us.
Yeah.
That way it's more clear.
Yeah,
Without
yeah,
getting
yeah,
late.
yeah.
Okay, so the motion is to table it for now and come forward with some ideas.
Come forward with examples of what we've seen in the past, so that, all the financial people can look at it and see what
And
they
just
ask
so
is.
you know, like, it might not look like what you saw, like what
I don't
is
expect it to,
currently
yeah.
happening, doesn't look like what you saw that, we don't. Yeah, that's probably-
Okay, so I heard a motion from Dan, a second from McKenna, all those in favor? Motion passes. Anything else on finances? Budget? Okay, thank you. Brent, hi. Welcome.
Howdy.
Glad to have you here. Okay, so Brent Foster has joined us. We are going to skip on down to item 10, the DOE project update. And, can we just go ahead straight on? Well, how do you want to do it? You go,
Well, the extension update, we kind of already did that. We're still
Yeah.
waiting for the extension update. The budget update, currently there are no accounts, there's nothing payable right now, other than we might go ahead and upload, because we have 2 people that have contracts. That would be Matt and Jill, and those are already in the system, and we talked about go ahead and getting the money for that now, and so I think Veronica's gonna help us with that. Except for we actually have to.
Right. And,
Little bit of detail, so that's our hope to do with that. And then.
yeah, and basically Matt and Jill have both been working on, faith and a prayer and
Yeah.
doing all the stuff and with all the, not just the shutdown, but the new administration came in and all the questions around the grant, it just like was not feel like the time to put a bunch of time and energy into it. Well, now at least we've been getting paid, hopefully we get the extension. I think we had some fairly encouraging news the other day, about, that I think we were on track anyway to get the extension if I cautiously optimistically read between our project managers.
Yeah, that's our.
We felt that way.
So, I think the 2 big things around the DOE grant right now is one, downstairs heat doesn't work. That's been kind of a continuing pain in the butt. I think we're not totally far away from the point where we wanna bring in a third party to try to look at it and figure out how to fix it. And I'd let Michelle comment on that, but I wanna kind of give that to Piper. I left a message for, one of them today. I'm gonna follow up with that, like, hey, either this needs to be resolved ASAP or we're getting, because we're hitting the cold season, like, not acceptable. So, they've tried a number of times. They thought it was potentially some cross wire, that wasn't the solution.
I'm gonna try to.
And then, Mitch has been quite active in trying to troubleshoot the system and, Michelle's more on the first person than I am, but I just say there's, a number of the issues have been resolved. I think we had a pretty productive walkthrough on, hey, here's a bunch more stuff that needs to be done. Aesthetically, Dan will remember this, but like, and I told Michelle, look, these were the only guys that they were very flexible in terms of meeting. It was a pretty fixed budget. there was never plans for like lots of elaborate, finishing work. I've told Michelle we can come in and put some of the pipes in the thing and some, white metal casing and do some stuff. And they came back and made some amendments to try to make it easier to do that. And then I've got a couple of patches where they don't have people who plaster, and plaster's the right fix, and it's not a big deal for my guys. So we're just gonna come in and do it. Obviously the system not working is the bigger thing. The kind of parallel track as we're, racing towards the end of two things. One, is obviously the end of the grant. Hopefully we get the extension. But the other thing is a bunch of the solar tax credits go away unless projects are installed and operational by July. Some of the BABA waivers, which let you use a broader number of solar panels, they may be assembled in the US, which is what we've always been looking at. But unless they have enough domestic content, we need to get them purchased by the end of December, which was news to us in our call the other day. But there are at least, I've got a fairly good stock of what we believe are BABA compliant panels. At least I got like 80 of them, so if the school needed to, buy them for me at cost, or we needed to do something like that, that's at least kind of a backup. The bigger thing though is, where do you put them? Can't put them on the roof, so we've looked at and I've done walks with McKenna and Tiff and Michelle out on, and Eric Witz, who's an architect, help us draw up, and I don't know if that's something you can, oh, good, yeah. So we started like looking at, where do you put something that is big enough with kind of two goals. One is to provide a structure for the solar panels, help basically provide, energy costs, I don't need to tell anyone, they continue to go up. There's obviously becoming more and more awareness of it. You've heard me saying like 72% last 4 years, and some people say it's going to be significantly more than that in the next 4 years. So, not too far out, you're looking at like teachers' positions worth of money for your electrical bill. This is a way around that, but it is not a small, that's about a 55. When we walked out there, the idea was try to make it a usable space. Multi-use, whether it was a pickleball court or able to put a basketball court in, or just have a hardscape, place, as well as having like picnic benches and places that are more just for outdoor eating when it's raining. This is, I would say, our least cost building. We got estimates of it. Take this all with a big grain of salt, but for about it was about a 90 by 55 square foot, so like about a 5,000 square foot building. Excuse the bad math if I'm off by a little.
You just tell me what you want.
But that's fine. Of the, in the range of like 85,000 for the building itself, and then another, the quote we got was not prevailing wages, but without prevailing wages, it was like going to be again 80 to 85. Let's assume that takes that to 100 or so with prevailing wages. That just he's going to get back to us with that. But the big picture is we're actually within the ballpark where I think with the revised solar plan and the structure, we're probably at least not too crazy far off of what was in the grant, which was like a 508K. Now, we've had some areas where we've spent more. I know some people said, hey, maybe this is a good thing to put additional money in, but just, without even getting there, we're not totally far off. But I can't say it's not going to pencil out 100K more or something, but at least we're not like a $3 million structure or something, right? That said, that is, not the most aesthetic structure. I went out this morning, I met with some balloons to try to like show the height. My balloons were lame and it was windy, and so that mission did not succeed. But
Sorry.
If I do have some photos and I'll send them out because I'm in the middle of a job and I'll be going back to it tonight. Some dear people moving in, future students, parents, but
You wanna go the other one?
What's the height
This is-
on it?
Well, this is a good question, and this is where I think like getting feedback from you all on where you wanna go. One of the things with, if you want to do a basketball court, that's kind of the highest that we would go. And if you're on a single pitched roof and you need to be at the lowest end of a basketball court at like 16 feet, this is not like an NBA court, but this is kind of like functional elementary. It makes the structure pretty darn high on the high side, even if it's a single slope. I thought McKenna had a couple of really neat drawings the other day that were of kind of a two pitch. That not only it helped with solar, but it also just kind of what breaks up with what's it's a big bill, it's big, you know? This is a pretty favorable view of it. The view that's not as favorable is gonna be kind of standing ground level, like this is, you know, maybe, I don't know what, maybe this is eye level, but like kind of ground level, looking right from the north back to the school. It's gonna clip off, it kind of overlaps with just to the east of the entrance door, if I was gauging it right, and I took some pictures I want to impose a building on, I'll send out. I think it's the kind of thing that's definitely worth kind of having some broader public input, you know, are people gonna go crazy, or is this just like, look, the school's been without an outdoor play area that's covered for way too long, the gym is not functional, it's not in line with, I think, everything the school wants to do, the kids don't like it, no, I don't think anyone likes it. So, you know, maybe it's just something, you know, we need to do, with or without the solar. I will add one thing. Last night in geeking out in the wee hours of the night on solar panels, this is exciting life I lead. Insomnia has its benefits. I stumbled on what was the first US made, very ultra lightweight solar panel that I found. I sent that to Matt. We were trading phone calls on my way in. I don't think he had seen it yet. I sure hadn't seen it. It was a small fraction. It was under a pound a square foot. Everything else was more like in the 4 to 5 pounds a square foot. I want to see, we have kind of a limit. Matt knew what it was. We're gonna look at it. If it comes back and we can put it on here, you know, it doesn't mean that
Nice
we,
structure.
Brent, are you looking at metal or wood for the structure?
well, the thing that was priced is all metal, right? That's gonna be your cheapest structure.
Yeah.
McKenna can chime in too, cause I'm yakking a lot, but McKenna had found some beautiful timber frame structures. I can tell you, we're talking lots and lots of money. We've also talked about a hybrid, which would be more of a Bob and Diane Salon and Bob Meon's, we're willing to donate some down trees. I think we could get them milled affordably. You know, there's some options there, but everything's gonna be more expensive than the metal building. So I think one of the feedback points would be great. And keep in mind, we've got this crunch time, right? Yeah.
The new possible lightweight solar that could go up there, could we get it and order it in time before December?
I sent out some late night emails and
But wait, we wouldn't need that for December.
well,
The solar Baba.
I think you're right. I think that they're actively saying this is a BABA compliant panel, meets both the content and the manufactured thing. So if that's true, that would be ideal and it would push us back.
So it would still need to be installed by.
Still need to be
July.
installed by July, which is, you know, I think that's a doable timeframe. The kind of hybrid structure, just to describe it a little, is more like wood posts, instead of even the big beams there. Eric and I were talking about potentially big glue lambs, which can also stretch pretty good spans. I mean, these things are going, the middle beams are going, the design that I'll forward out to everybody, you know, it's like a 25-foot span, you know, so it's big, and in the middle, they're 50-foot spans. They cross the whole building. So significant, we're not getting quite that far with wood, but still, it might be a way to soften it. The other thing we've talked about is, you know, having some sort of wood facade, you know, the steel structures on the sides they're beefy, you know, they're big. I've seen pictures of them. it's hard to imagine kind of wrapping them in wood, which was something I thought about too. But you know, an all wood structure with big beams, a metal roof, you know, that's kind of that's kind of a hybrid option. So I don't want to like overthink the aesthetic. The one nice thing is, you know, there is that tree there. It's kind of tucked behind the tree. It's going to be you know, it's going to seem there's about at least a 7 to 8 foot grade difference, but at, you know, 18 feet or so, that sucker's it's gonna eclipse part of the school for sure. It's gonna change that view from the front. That I think I would been here long enough that I think that will, you know, it'd be good to hear just how upset or maybe people are like, you know, this is part of having a Class A school. So
McKenna, were you gonna add anything?
Well, I think the way to think about this too is also that we have a chunk of space that we can't use right now, that we have fenced off for solar panels, that it's, you know, balls get thrown back there, there's every first figuring out, every kid wants to be in there. And it's like a way to gain back that space and make it usable and also have solar. And we've years have talked about how great would it be to have an outdoor classroom, and it really opens up a lot of opportunities that we've been trying to solve. Visually, I personally love that modern look, so it doesn't bother me, but I understand other people will have a different opinion. But we do have kind of a visual of the school. I mean, that little triangle shape, maybe we could, you know, copy that on the outside in a way that would be pleasing to people. But there's options, and I do think I really hope we move forward with something like this to get all of these pieces in place.
I think also just keeping in mind the end users, the students, and what they don't have right now. And I think you make a really good point there. That space, not only is it not accessible, but it's not really producing very much power either. It's not really doing anything for
And
it.
that's pretty ugly too, let's say that.
Yeah, this would be also nicer.
Yeah.
This would be,
These painted in the right color, like a similar to that ODOT brown or something, where they're kind of blending into the background. I don't, you know, it's like, I don't see that. I see that. I'm happy about it. That looks.
I think students
Yeah.
would love it.
And as a group, we walked in, I mean, really, we looked at all over the campus, you know, covering the playground area or something. And I mean, for sun, and then also just like versatility for use underneath, it just really probably makes the best sense, given that we can't use next door at the middle school. Because the funds are set for this campus. We did explore, it's not like this was
Yeah, we
thoroughly
all
walked
around,
and
and
looked.
that's just kind of.
And really
thought
thought
there.
about it, and it obscures the school the least amount,
And-
of anywhere where you could put it, that'll still get sun.
Yeah, and what it does, I mean, basketball court makes sense to me just because we have a basketball court, and I have to say, like, where it's at right now for our support staff to monitor recess is really challenging because it's tucked around the corner. If it's there, supervision would be a lot easier. Also, just having, like, when it's raining out, those kids will play out in the rain. But it would be nice for a covered area for them to not have to play out in the rain. And it just, with the number of kids that we have in here, our gym space is really tight right now. And, the K3 can have a morning recess in the gym, but in the lunch, they have to be out whether or not it's raining or not. And vice versa for the 4 through 8. They can be in there at lunch, but they can't be in there at morning. And it's just scheduled. So,
And it'd be less balls on our neighbor's yard.
yeah, because right now, like, the balls are all just going to Brian's.
Yeah.
So.
When you were walking around looking, did you consider like a long, narrow pavilion, like along the street edge of the property?
We thought it would obscure the view of the school so much, like to go the whole.
Wouldn't be high enough.
Yeah, especially if we were gonna try to make it usable for maybe like a court or something, even if it was a half-size basketball court. Yeah, but also that would interfere with the soccer space, which is really desirable, yes.
And that would be one benefit of this too, and Michelle really pointed out that like, okay, right now, our soccer goals, they're not parallel to each other, right? And it's at a slope, you know, and we were out there and talked to some kid, he's like, it'd be really great if the wasn't on a hill. So hopefully part of this could be leveling the site at grade for the soccer field, actually hopefully expanding it a little out to the west. If you, that picture there pushes the soccer field, I wanna say it's in the 30 foot range to the west. We looked at potentially carving back a little bit of the play area, but just the buffer area around it to make the field a little wider. So, those are all things that like don't have to be decided right now, but essentially, hopefully making the soccer field better.
Pluses.
I don't think that's not, I think, there might be some grading around the field we could attribute to the grant, could be a good part of it. I don't, probably not. Dewey's probably not buying us a new soccer field, but,
We might have to get the work donated, after like
Yeah.
the building of the structure, so.
So I'm just noticing that we've got about an hour left. I know that you're gonna look into the lighter film that possibly might be an option for up top, and if so, that kind of negates this conversation for now as part of the DOE grant.
maybe, yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I think it would be another thing to put on the table. There's some arguments for a ground mount system. If a giant measure went through next year and all of a sudden schools had a bunch more money and we wanted to like rebuild the school, well, having the panels off the building, there's some benefits of that. So and ultimately, if the cost was, it's gonna be more cost to build the ground mount, not that there's no way around that, but like what I'm seeing generally in the difference of the solar cost is we'll be under budget because we can now get the panels. Those of you in there, I've got a wholesale deal. I will give it to the school at zero profit. The only expense will be, the materials and having someone hook it up, right? If we do it, it would be a basically volunteer help hook up, but the electrical part of it is all, would be Tito. He knows how to do it all, right? So,
So when does this decision need to be made?
like pretty darn soon. I mean, like we're yeah,
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 that's kind of what I was wondering.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, really with the end of December buy thing, what I would think is like, we need, I'd say if we, like in 10 days, there may be reasons to have just like a special phone meeting or something to try to be like, okay, here's a plan, we've got a better feeling of costs, here's the options, let's make some decisions and, cause we still need to get, buy off from DOE on anything, so.
We just have to have it ordered by December, or it has to be here by December?
Has to be purchased by December,
Okay, so
so
we just paid for it.
now,
Okay.
I will tell you, I've got a little bit of a backup. I don't wanna take the pressure off and I wanna. It creates some risk for the school, but to the tune of like 85 panels. Or if, I can sell you panels for cost and if you don't need them or want them, then I could give them back to you, or we could undo it. For the rest of the panels, which is, ideally we're getting around 200, that's more or less in the ballpark. That is probably not gonna cover, we started the analysis because we've only haven't been running that long of how much electricity we're using. That's not gonna cover like the whole bill, right? It's not, but it's a pretty big part of it.
Are they 400 watts each or?
400, yeah, 410, yeah. They're right now, the ones I have and the school can buy are called Silfab 410s, US made panel. And they're at least close to BABA compliant and they may be actually BABA compliant, but we just need to get something from the provider actually saying that.
okay, so then, worst case scenario, those panels need to be purchased with the BABA waiver by December.
Yeah.
31st, right?
December 31st. So there might be a scenario that those don't need to be purchased by December 31st because of BABA compliance.
Yeah, if we find that like this BILA, BILA is the name of the panel we found last night, US made, You get some bonus credit by using them too, because they do meet it. So not only can you use them for the grant, you get, instead of 30% tax credit, you get 40 and a bonus 10% back. So it's a cool panel. Can we get it? I couldn't, I found one place that had them for sale last night in San Diego. You know, so but they're very light. I mean, it's a totally different panel and they're unlike anything we've seen before, at least.
But even the ones that you have 85 of, are those?
I do not have those. Those can't go on the roof. Those
No,
are,
I know that.
the ones
but-
I have 85 of are the Silfab panels. They're very good panels. They're
And they're.
potentially BABA compliant, but,
So the end of December isn't really a due date for us.
it is, in case we can't get enough. Cause right now, everybody and their mother is trying to get solar. So all the Silfabs generally in Oregon are sold out, or at least all the ones we've been able to track down. So it is, I mean, I bought them because I, you know, for that reason. And we've got another 100 and something non-BABA compliant panels just because.
So my question is, if we're looking at, order of operations and what we need to do, well, in 10 days, we have a better idea of what's available and what the total cost is.
We'll have a better idea of whether we can get the lightweight panels. I think a better idea on a design. We it's kind of like an ad hoc design committee that in a very spur of the moment met out on the field. So, but I think we'll have met again. Eric's been great on doing drawings pretty quick. I think I think even if we do that, like looking at some aesthetic options, whether it's a wall of, or wood or, any of those things, at least something to contemplate. I think planning and doing some publicity on a public meeting would probably be worthwhile. I think it's.
My feeling just from a construction standpoint, I'd rather not have them on the roof. Because eventually it will cost us more money to re-roof the roof. There's more weight up there. I just, if it was our only place to put them, I'd be okay, we can do it, but.
We could also do a hybrid where we're just putting some panels on the music room, which we just had a new roof, so we know that one will actually be managed for a while, so that's another.
The further this way we go, the more tree
Exactly,
cover
yeah.
we have, the further that way we go, the more sun we get too.
And the music room is about 1,200 square feet. So it would kind of might be a way if we felt like we needed to shrink the footprint of the building, that might take off, a quarter of the size thereabouts of where you want to be targeting. But I think one of the questions that I don't know is what's big enough to house the kids in a functional way. I don't know. It'd almost be interesting, like.
What's the square footage of our?
Our gym.
Yeah, our gym, what is that? 50 by 100?
70, didn't we measure it was like 75 by, but that's all the way up to the bleachers. I don't know, but it's a darn good question.
So then you have an idea of what you use currently and.
Yeah.
Double.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's better than what we have right now.
I feel like this is feeling like kind of a big decision that, I don't wanna rush, and I recognize that we have to rush a little bit, but I feel like the community kind of needs to be engaged a little bit. And I don't know what that would look like, because that's never a quick thing. But I would be fun, like you can mention it to the, alumni when they come, because there will be lots of opinions there, so they can support us. I think that people are really supportive of the school right now, but they're also very, people don't like change. And this would be a very visual change that you see every single time you come to Mosier. I just don't wanna make a decision because we're like too quickly on it. That's one of the
Yeah, I think
concerns.
we all agree that a public meeting is a great idea, and I think maybe we can make sure that happens soon. And in December, especially when we have lots of people coming through for the holiday fairs and lots of people are on campus, more so than normal.
I think you can get out word like fairly quickly. I mean, ultimately the city, I think the city's gonna have to sign off on a permit. But I think, if we called a meeting with a week's notice, it'd be pretty easy to get, I think a broad word out, but it's not ideal. It is, but it is, no signs that any more money on this scale is coming anytime soon to do this sort of thing. So I do, it's,
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna move it from next steps. You have something.
Our next, meeting with, Department of Energy is on December 2nd.
So the design itself doesn't need to be finalized by December, whatever, but the panels themselves do. And, have we considered the perspective from the road because the cars are a bit lower? So
That's-
you have.
that,
so it
that,
may
that's
be
what
better.
Eric's unfortunately gone for like 10 days, but I am going to take a photo and at least get some crude, buildings. I think one of the feedback pieces is key, just because it goes to the height.
Mhm.
If we're dealing with basketball, we're at 16 to 18 feet. If we're not dealing with basketball, we're at, we could probably be closer to 12 and still get some pitch. So, I don't know if that difference. I don't have a.
Yeah.
I know, I would rather, if we're gonna spend the money on a structure, personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you're still gonna see the school for the whole way from,
Yeah.
As
you
soon
know,
as you enter town.
yeah, you're just gonna miss it here and it's already being blocked off by two big solar panel things.
Maybe, yeah, maybe even like getting some stakes in the ground out there, so as we start talking about it, people can see the visualization.
I can do that. I really do want to get balloons. They're great for
Yeah, no.
being able to tell height. I just need some bigger balloons.
From a public meeting standpoint.
Yes, I was.
With the holidays, so obviously, if say we made an announcement for tomorrow, that we'd like to have a public meeting, would the first week of December, 2 weeks, would that be acceptable?
Okay.
Hold on,
Oh.
let's make sure Michelle tracking too, because it matters. She
What?
matters.
Oh, yeah.
For this one.
Just with the holiday, and knowing we would love to announce that public meetings tomorrow and throwing out a possible date, would the first week of December be an option where it's giving 2 weeks notice to the public?
I think, I think if you have a week's notice, a month's notice, we give the same
Yeah.
people. like,
Yeah,
2 weeks.
I agree.
I think,
Great.
yeah, Marie.
I'm stepping out of the GOE discussion momentarily. To talk about the, December meeting about this structure, jogging us back, press line and the tape deck. There had been a request to consider moving the gym after Betsy Harmon. I wonder if, because this is the gym and outdoor player kind of related, if we might use that moment to also ask folks to present that idea and then get people's feedback.
To name the structure after Betsy or the?
Not the gym, but we had the stage.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
discussed, trying to, reach out to
And-
the community to.
And actually, the person I saw from my nutritionist, she was a friend of Betsy, and she was supposed to come and talk to me about that. Because I told her that was in the works, so I think that's a good idea. My feeling is, I'd like to see us spruce it up just a little bit more before, I don't think I would, before we put somebody's name on it. So, and I think we're close, but I can't remember her name. Anyway, so she was a good friend of Betsy's, and I told her about that there was an initiative to that, and she would like to be, I think we have people outside that would like to be involved in helping make that happen. So,
Okay.
And I think she's saying, why don't we have a meeting just to discuss it for the public meeting for that and this?
Combine the meeting.
Just
Not, so we're getting public
Yeah,
to that group
Just to
and
let folks
Yeah.
know that there's discussion of doing that.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't think there's, I've been here long enough to know that, I don't think there's gonna be opposition to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not to Betsy, but
Not to Betsy, but to that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and that's why I kind of worry about mixing them together.
Sure, it might be a lot to overshadow.
Yeah, it might be a lot.
Pretty big thing.
This is a big, this will be a big deal to some people. Yeah, so we would, so then it sounds like what we're thinking is maybe, or planning for a public meeting the week of December 1.
Right, and I think December 3rd is probably the best option based on the holiday fair setup that's gonna start happening after that.
Okay. So public meeting, and we would have some images to show folks. We'd have an opportunity for people to provide written comments and maybe leave it at that, some oral comments if people who are around. And then it has to be like, you have to like get it out to the public through like Main Street Mosier newsletter, the city can put it on their website.
I could contact, if we want to set the date and time, I could contact Main Street, Mosier and ask them if they do like a special, because they don't put the thing out for the first, so that's another time, but they could do something out at the end of the week. And then we post something and
Do you all, like the folks who are kind of already working on this, do you feel comfortable trying to pull that off?
I just think it's the timeline we're on.
we have to,
Yeah.
we'd have to.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I would say, do we want a 5:30 start? Or 5? Are we talking about the 3rd or the 4th? December 3rd.
Can we leave that to you all to figure out?
I'll talk to Daphne about getting the gym space maybe for the public meeting.
Sure.
Or should I talk to you, but.
Let's say by December 3rd. Yeah, we have, yeah, that's late enough, so.
Yeah.
Volleyball club is, done. 10:45, so we're good.
Okay. Awesome. Does that need a motion or is that just plain?
No, that's just fine, you guys have,
Okay,
we send it out. Everyone.
awesome. Anything else on DOE? Brent, thank you for all that. It's a lot.
Big thanks to, Matt and Jill and Michelle and everyone else for,
Okay.
doing lots of heavy lifting around it.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
Thanks, Brent.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Here.
Good to see you.
Good.
Floor refinishing. See you guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Okay, so, we are going to have to beat through the rest of our agenda. If we want to get ahead, if we want to leave at 10.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay. And I'm
You
gonna
are-
go ahead and excuse
and you're,
myself.
yeah, thank you so much.
Safer at home.
Okay, so next is report from Leon.
Gonna go fast. Hold on, have to get this out.
No, that's fine.
Enrollment, we're, 191, 93K, so nothing's really changed. We gained a student that, is a 4th grader, so that lives in Mosier. We had talked about, I think we're gonna talk about this in the December meeting, of just getting the application to attend and having us go through that one more time. So that it starts out in January, we go through March, and setting, we have our numbers here and just looking at where can we, obviously, we can always add kindergartners because that's where you do it. And then, where we feel comfortable adding, students at that time. Educational excellence, they have, our, teams have been meeting with them. They actually came on site on November 6th. And, they had a choice to either, observe them, Andrea and Missy's teaching, or be observed. And I think almost everybody chose to be observed. And so then they met with the teachers afterwards, just kind of reviewed with some reflection and feedback on that. And we have a lot of like positive from the teachers. They really liked it, so. And then then we also, Missy's like, your folks need some more time to do so, we did our priority standards for ELA and social studies. The next step is they do what they call project mapping, which is taking those standards and putting them all the way throughout the year. And now you're just kind of zooming in each time, and now they're doing unit mapping, so they're actually saying, okay, here's my unit on, I'm trying to think about, but on teaching, opinion writing, and then actually doing that out. It's, they've been working in 2 to 2.5 hour sessions. Any more than that, it's mind numbing after that. And so, it's hard work, and I've heard that over and over, but I also hear it's gonna be really, good work for them because, as teachers, you've got that plan out. So instead of like scrambling every day for what you're doing, you have a really clear vision of what you're teaching and the standards that you're teaching. And so, and right now it's been nice for the K-5, I'm not sure down if you're in, but as they're doing the progress reports that are report cards, whatever we're calling them, they're standards based. And so because they're so familiar with standards right now, I'm noticing that they're feeling like, oh, this is really easy. I know where I assess these things. So that's gonna be really helpful. We are needing to, right now, we currently only have health curriculum for our middle school. There's no health curriculum for the K-5. We need to find something for them. We were out of compliance as far as doing, by law, we were supposed to be doing child abuse training, lessons and also, sexual health lessons. And that didn't happen last year, so it has to happen this year. And, so we need to find some curriculum for the K-5 to use. The good news is, like, I kind of talked a little bit too about the, you know, our nurse that we have, Gina, she's willing to kind of step in and help out with some of that as well. So that will be good for that. That's always a curriculum that, anybody can choose to opt out. Because it is sometimes a little controversial, you know, but child abuse should not be, you know, that's just for like teaching kids about, you know, appropriate touch and all that. There is currently only one curriculum that is approved by the state of Oregon, and that's Body Works, I think it's called,
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
Body
that
Shop,
number
Body
is
Shop,
disconnected.
Body Shop. So, I'm looking for some, we could probably do what's called an independent adoption. So if we found something that was really good to use, I would prefer that we use something that's really good. Body Shop, I can tell you, like, I used it probably 20 years ago. I don't think it's changed a whole lot. So, but it's the only thing that they have approved. I know, go figure. The next up will be our social science curriculum, and we'll, I think for the health curriculum, it will be like, here's some options, what do you guys want to choose? It's not going to be a big selection, but for the social science curriculum, I think that's going to be more, we form a committee. It's something that we will probably start looking at now and then adopt for next year. The state of Oregon has some, things that are approved for that, and some not. A lot of schools, mostly, for the social science curriculum, they actually just, like, we always just made our own. It's just a easier, units to make. We've already talked about the audit is in progress. Our plan is to have it completed by December 31st. Abram just keeps asking for little tiny things, and like, there was 3 things he asked for today. Veronica, she has on our schedule on Mondays and Wednesdays to just say, how are we doing? Where are we at? You know, we're just constantly in their ear. One thing that we do want to, like, take is, we are probably for the next audit going to look at different auditors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty much everybody we talked to, they dragged their feet so much on this that, when we talked to Northwesco about who they use. It's in Surrey or something like that, they're out of Bend, that was who I think, the gal that kind of helped with the transition, Summer had kind of suggested, and I've had 2 other places suggest them as well. I just think that, Dan Peterson, we reached out to them. We feel like if it's under our sponsoring district, that they would probably help facilitate it a little bit faster for us. So we're small, we're not, like, we're just not as big as the other places. And so we're tendency, like, we're given like interns and nobody, and so it's just a little concerning that way. Umpqua would also be somebody else. So we would probably interview a couple of different auditors and just get, I think that both Veronica and Shannon and I have some pretty good questions to ask. And if a board member like Amelia wanted to be on that, that would be really nice to have, or even somebody else. The job posting for the teaching position, we're interviewing them for 3 candidates this week. Hopefully we'll have a recommendation to hire by Friday.
Will we do a special meeting for that?
Let me find out. I think we could probably, again, I think it's gonna depend on who we hire. I think we can go ahead, because our board meeting is on the 15th. 16th. Is it the 16th? Yeah. It's on Tuesday.
It's on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
it's Tuesday. again, depending on who we're hiring, one person probably wouldn't want to start till after Christmas, and one person might, already be working here. So, like, I think that we can figure that out, so. If I feel like we need, I mean, and it could be that we tack that on to
The DOE one.
the DOE meeting, so that could be easy too. We had, huh?
Generally, the board is just approving your hires, so.
Yeah,
after
so we
the
would
fact,
do, okay.
We're not like having
Yeah.
to provide
Okay.
you with, oh, yes, we're gonna hire this person, you're
Okay.
your employees.
They're usually on a
you're our
consent
own.
agenda, so yeah, so, anyway.
So you can hire them before we.
That
Yeah.
was it.
We don't have, she doesn't need our approval to hire people.
You have, so your job is to hire me.
We're just aware.
And my job is to hire other
You know,
people.
it's just a formality.
That's what I keep telling you.
Yeah.
Well, we hope so. On November 13th, we had a hold lockdown evacuation drill. So a hold is if, you can still, do school. It's just that the buildings, students are asked to stay inside. They're not supposed to be in the hallways. And then lockdown means all the doors are locked down, the gates are locked down, everybody's in their classroom. We have little shades now for the windows. They all have that, and they hide. And then we have an evacuation drill. It all went really well. One thing we did discuss, and this was a great, thing that Dawn brought up, is when you move from the lockdown to the evacuation, is to be on the speaker and just saying, like, we have a code word to let them know that it's okay to go outside, because otherwise you don't know that. And that was a really good, thing to do. I think we went pretty well with that. Had a few, we did have a few issues of them going straight down where it's gonna be the slide one day.
Oh.
And come back up the slide one day. Anyway, started going around. So we had a conversation about, we go around and not up and down that. And then Miss Benninger ran the drill because she's doing her administration, practicum. And so she ran the drill. She sent out the, message to parents. We will have another one similar to this in the spring. Last spring, we invited the law enforcement in to do it. I'm not sure we'll do that. You only have to do that every 2 years. Probably won't do it again this year. And it's, right now it's hard for our families with just what's going on, and it would just be, you know, and I think, be okay. I actually was on a crisis, North Wasco crisis meeting, and many of the schools are choosing not to do that this year. And, the sheriff's department is super happy with that, because they're, like, they don't have enough staff to support all of that. Now our next drill will be an evacuation drill, December 9th at 1 p.m. New music room, carpet is supposed to be installed this week. Have not seen that happen just yet. The man door is supposed to be installed, the data and IT. We were just waiting on a data box to come in, and then, our people from our IT from, ESD will install all of that, and then final electrical. And the HVAC it's all just waiting for the electrical, the final electrical, that I believe Tito's on vacation. So, well deserved, yes.
Lately, I've been noticing just increased speed around the pickup and drop off. Is there something that we need to send out for teachers or for?
Well, I think for staff, I'm not for staff, for parents. I did send something out in the newsletter about using the crosswalks, and if you notice, the crosswalks are marked again. I didn't even know there was one over here, but evidently it's fun. And, Lisa and I are out there every morning and reminding people to use the crosswalk, and I love it now because we have some parents that are like, you need, like, telling other parents to use the crosswalk, so that's good. Getting people not to park in the crosswalk is another, like, because when they're doing that, but, we might have, I can put some signs out there too, but, yeah, yes, yeah.
Or do we need like a middle school safety committee?
Yeah.
Was I just started like
Wow.
everything.
So, yeah, I agree,
Let us know if you need support on that.
okay, playground.
Did you hear anything yet?
I haven't heard anything. Molly just said she's working on it. So we, our small committee,
Yes.
quickly met, we decided after going back and forth, it is going to be a double slide, which who knew we were gonna come up with that one. We've decided it's not gonna be that hot. We're gonna be fine. It will be the one that holds up the longest. I'm gonna tell you, like, West Side has a slide that's probably been there since the 60s. And they're still using it. It's the scariest slide I've ever seen. It is like really tall, and when my little 3-year-old granddaughter goes up there, I'm just like, ah. Anyway, And then we just decided we had we were so overwhelmed with so many different people. We're like, we're gonna go with this person and this person. We're gonna look at the bids, we're gonna order it and go.
See what comes back.
Yeah.
Those two.
I like how we made a decision.
Let the winner win. Bravo, love it.
But we also, with this whole talk about this, is working to develop more of a long-term plan for the whole unit here, because I am gonna say the, play structure is going to jet out a little bit in the soccer field, and we talked about, can we maybe like get rid of part of it and go this direction with it? I probably would love to order like a goggle ball pit for that place that kind of comes in there. That would be another thing that they could play. It would be easy to install because you just put horse mats down and it goes right there and it's ready to go. Like we don't have to have all the dads come and drill holes and all that kind of stuff. Covered area, like I gotta say, like a covered area would be lovely here. It would be really nice.
The school has wanted it for years.
Yeah.
And I do think it's been part of a fundraiser for years too, so I think.
Yeah.
It's been,
It'd be interesting to hear from,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, about the financial impact on our budget
Yeah,
with that.
yeah,
and
yeah,
thinking
I
about
think,
the
I
school.
think, yeah, we've
but
spent some money
the
this
next
year,
year.
so.
Just where we at, what Shannon's take is on that.
Transportation, I reached out to Lisa just to get a meeting. She's been super busy, so didn't notice that she's, upcoming events, you already have this all listed, and a big thing is we did have to cancel the, skate night, and it was just due to Casey had a family emergency, so, coming up, and she tried really hard to get people to do it, and everybody's like, it's my birthday, you know, they have lots of things going on, so we just decided we're just gonna wait till January, and it will probably be snowed out on that day. I know, we're hoping that we'll get that going. I know the kids were really disappointed. We also had to move the Tiger Rally from Thursday to Wednesday, because on Thursday, there's only the second, third graders and fourth and fifth graders left at school.
Right.
Gonna be a quiet day for us. Anyway, everybody else is leaving. And so it was just an easy switch to 1:30 because we want to, do the jogathon. I know Eddie, and you'll talk about that in just a minute. And everybody's leaving on Thursday to go to the zoo or go into Portland. We do have the alumni coming for Thanksgiving meal. It's a smaller crowd this year. We only have about 20 coming. Last year, I think we were about 35. So we're okay with that because the fourth and fifth graders are gonna be serving, so, and they're excited about doing that.
You should have mentioned the pavilion just to say.
Yes, yes, yes. I usually try to do that and also ask them for, you know, tell them that they can go online, so send us some money. Anyway, they're a very lovely group. John and Richard and Anna have worked hard at preparing the meal. It has more, it has some ham with the turkey, because evidently turkeys are really hard to come by this year, is what she said. So they were very expensive. And so we kind of leave into that. I'm gonna go and get some pies. It's just to take it off of Richard's plate, is just go buy some pies for the group. I mean, it's 20 people, can't be that hard. And then we have the assessment day is on Friday. The thing I have noticed, I noticed that Hood River does their assessment day on Monday, like they did it on this Monday, which makes now a lot of sense to me. Because what's happening to us, like we'll do it on Friday, report cards will not go out until after Thanksgiving break. And it's just because in order to get them all in, Jen has to print them all out. We like to look at them first before they go out. They will go home on Tuesday, the
When
December
we come
2nd.
back, so I
Yeah.
have time to print, or if there is
Yeah.
any mistakes, teachers have time.
Yeah, they'll go out on Tuesday, December 2nd. We did upgrade the 4-5 progress report because it did not have the standards base like the K1s and the 2-3s did. And so they're excited about, they wanted that change. So we did facilitate that. And then we have the holiday fair, drama club, and winter break and all of those things. So, and the turkey trot. So it says turkey trail on here, so. Questions?
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, let's see, the next item is draft goals, executive director draft goals, and Michelle, we've got printouts if we didn't get one, I'll say.
And I just shared it with you. I had just shared it with Emily and Julia just because I was trying to get feedback before I put it out there. So. So goal one would be strengthen high quality literacy instruction, improve learning outcomes across all grades. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is, we are, so HB 121, there was a, in the legislature, there was what they called the Education Accountability Act. And, they are, making school districts set targets off of data that they have. And right now, there's a little bit of, back and forth between the charter districts or the charter schools and the state of Oregon, because they don't feel like they want us just to, like, our target has to be whatever Northwesco's target is. And the charter schools do not like that as a whole. And so, this Iris Chavez, she wrote to the ODE and told how disappointed that we were not included in that conversation. And I was like, well, she's not gonna get anywhere. And sure enough, she has a postponement on it. So they're going to have, on Friday, I'm gonna go into a virtual meeting so I can listen to, what their thoughts are, because they feel like you've made charter schools be unique. Why are you making them follow the same rules here? Yeah.
I'm just curious, is it just out of principle, she thinks that public charter schools targets should be different than their sponsoring district or another district that's public, or does she want them to be set higher?
She wants them to have she wants them to have the independence to set their own targets, because, and honestly, my guess is their targets are gonna be lower than what our targets would be, because we're already higher up. Like when we look at state testing, for the most part, we are. And so I think she just wants, and because targets are gonna be on third grade reading. It also has, there's an attendance target, that you're having to meet, high school success, which we don't have to meet that target. So there are specific targets that we have to meet. And so, I know when I first saw that, I'm like, oh, okay, but
So what are her metrics, or what,
she just wants,
what would public charter schools utilize to set their targets? Does she have her own?
they want to set their own targets for their own. Their
Using
own
our own
demographics. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
each public charter would be able to do their own,
Yes,
or is
yeah,
she
yeah,
proposing
yeah, no, no,
that?
each
Yeah.
charter would do that.
Yeah. Cause we have a different demographic.
Is there any prescriptive measure of how those charter schools might set them?
Well, there are,
Or she
like,
just
there are
wants-
targets you have to set.
Okay.
One was like, what percentage of kids in third grade do you want, like, grade? So like, if you're at 50%, my guess is you are gonna want to grow, 5 or 10%. And she wants them to be able to set their own targets and not have them, and like, if you're.
I'm gonna just, I
Yeah,
wanna
yeah.
push us off of this. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
because I know it's interesting,
Yeah.
but we just don't have much time. And, we're supposed to be looking at these goals,
Perfect.
goals.
Yeah, okay, so that is part of one of those goals, is something that we have to do anyway, so I'm going to make sure that that's part of it. And that would be, just using our dibbles and so we have our dibbles and our MAPS testing. And those are some of the targets that we have. So the hope is, after I listen to, these should match whatever, or that we end up saying to the state of Oregon that we have to do. So my goals should match that. So these might change a little bit. The targets might change a
So
little bit.
these are draft right now,
Yeah.
and can you just help me remember, are these goals for the future, or are these things that you're already working?
So when you set goals, it's whatever, it's for 1 year. So the goals, so we're like, they're goals that we have for this school year. And then at the end of the school year, then you're going to rate me on how I've done on my goals. Okay, so
So these are 1 year out.
they're 1 year out,
These
yeah.
are yours out. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, but 1 year, yeah. Okay, and then, yes, that is correct. And then, just the strengthening the financial system, budgeting practices on long-term fiscal sustainability to support the mission and strategic goals of Mosier Community School. And so, like, I'm listening to Marie, like, one of the things I'm thinking about is making sure, like, the board is well informed of what's happening, like that could be something that we added as a goal. And then achievable, and it just, like, how is it achievable, like with the balance, the budget? We have money at the end of the year, maybe we have a little bit more money at the end of the year, that we have, a budget in place by June 26th. And that we make sure the audit is done by the 31st. You know, that to me, like, is my biggest goal, just because it's been such a challenge the last 2 years. And my third goal would be to strengthen relationships with families, community partners, and local organizations to support student success and student sustainability. And like, we have lots of different piles of, you know, committees running around. Like, we have Tiger's Den, we have the 4-day week, we have the backpack program. Like, how do we, I really, you know, search out a little bit, like spreading out, and how do we make sure that we're maintaining really good relationships. And like, we're trying to, Shannon is writing thank you cards to everybody who's donated to the backpack program. And anybody has donations, I will sign that one. You know, we're trying to be very intentional about making sure that people are happy with that, so. So those are draft goals. If we have like some input that, I'm kind of working on some of those, I think we can kind of make some changes to them, suggestions on that.
So do you want people just to email you?
Yeah, and then we would kind of, during the EG report, I just like would report about where I'm at on those goals.
Okay. Any questions or thoughts? Good.
No thoughts.
I would love to read that letter.
Okay,
Well, I'm really the letter.
Oh, that she wrote?
Yeah.
Send it to you. Yeah.
I want to read it.
She.
sorry, I don't mean to start the conversation.
No,
I
you're
should
keeping
have.
this one.
No,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, you're just like that.
Project we've already handled.
Yeah, we're down to a week. Okay, so this next one, 11, the discussion on public use of the school building. I'm going to set a timer for us on this one. Okay, so we had a request from a youth soccer group to use the gym. We have not been letting folks use the space after school for some years now. And we needed to have a little bit of board conversation. I don't know if you want to share any perspectives.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Why was it, or what's the history and situation as to what took place that, because he kind of spoke to it a little, but I wasn't here yet then, so.
It was part of a school threat and threats on
Oh, it was
teachers,
further.
and so it was related to that. So
Well, can I chime in?
Yeah.
It was that, and it was also the soccer club that was using the gym.
Yeah, he
Basically was
spoke to that.
breaking windows and ceiling tiles and stuff.
It was an adult.
And some of the people the person that was renting that, their child was born.
that.
Okay. So this is for youth programming. Couple of things that we talked about before is we have the ability to put our gates up at the bottom of the stairs by the cafeteria and then the bottom of these stairs to prevent folks from having access to the majority of the school, just like on skate nights. Michelle, what else do you want to add or do you want us to think about?
Yeah, I mean,
What's your?
it was Jimmy, it was our soccer club that was asking for this, and he did say like there are, I think, 2 or 3 of the kids that go to Mosier that are on this team. I am also gonna tell you, like, finding space to be indoors is really challenging. I know Hood River is booked solid, to do that. We do have soccer, you know, we have a volleyball club, we are using it after, we're just not charging to use that. I think being after hours is challenging because that is also when the cleaners are here. Like, and so that does make it challenging. We get a lot of, I think the last month I had 3 requests to rent the building. So one was for a wedding.
Oh,
They
wow.
had gym.
Oh, wow.
Like, really, that gym?
Maybe they're student. Yeah.
Anyway, like everybody wants to do a birthday party in there. So.
I used to rent it for birthday.
Yeah, with the new equipment we bought for the stage, I mean, are we at all concerned about?
So,
Having
we haven't had that installed yet.
calibrated,
It
yeah.
will be, you know, it's gonna be up on the ceiling, so they won't be, and it's in a cage. So they won't, I don't think they'll be able to really do that. And eventually, all the sound equipment, my understanding is that Nate's moving it all. So once, such a domino effect. Once the music room is finished, then they're going to be moving all the equipment that's in that one little closet area, will go back into where the music room is, and they're gonna move all the sound equipment into that room where it's all locked. So, yeah.
So in theory, we could allow, so if we were to allow soccer, that one factor wouldn't be an issue until that's finished.
Yeah, and so I think like I think that's a really good point. Until that's finished, it might be something like, hey, we are thinking about this, but it might not happen this year. Yeah.
I just wanna point out too, so we can't be discriminate, so like if we're saying we have to open it up to allow anybody, or at least have an application that we adhere to, right? To apply to use the space, we can't just say like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like that's right, yes, we have to have a policy and like an application or whatever that looks like for it.
But if you said like, if it's for youth groups
Mhm.
versus adult groups, I
Right.
think you can make that.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
I'm just saying we have to have thing in place.
And we do, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway,
Practice, right, it's not being.
it's practice.
So if you.
So,
Are there, sorry,
no,
is there a liability policy that we can have them? Like, I know when you host a bike race, for example, it's $1 per participant for the host to pay for a liability policy that would cover potentially some of our stuff. So maybe there's a policy that, yes, you can use it, but here's the cost per person, and this covers this insurance that if you damage some of our stuff, is
Yeah.
covered, rather than us taking and putting the bills when that happens.
I think that, because currently like when, Main Street Mosier like rents out that, they actually have to show us proof of insurance. I think that's, I didn't have lots of questions.
have that.
I'm
I don't
sure
know.
that
Insurance.
either that or Pace may have a link to somebody who does that
Okay.
would protect us in that situation.
And I could reach out to Pace and ask them like, who, if we rent that out, well. And then I think you also have to think about that. If it's for a youth group, you know, do you wanna rent it out or do you like?
Right.
Yeah,
Right, I'm like,
just
we need
let
a
them
policy, like,
Yeah.
yeah, if it's a cost or not.
Yeah. And so I could talk to Pace and then also just kind of reach out and just ask that person if they have insurance and so, I mean, I think that lots of school buildings got used for lots of different things and then COVID happened and we all shut down. And then it's been a slow reopening. So, I like your government shut.
Do you remember when he was wanting to use it?
Hold on, let me see if I can find this, I mean, we kind of already told them that we didn't do it, but,
He's begging, I know.
I mean, I wanted to say yes, I just feel like we have to have like.
Yeah.
Something.
He's trying, I guess.
That opens the door for everyone.
yeah, I propose a very different environment, youth soccer indoor practice that's only open to rostered players and their families, some of which are Mosier students. West Side Metro has significant insurance for many facilities, so they do have insurance. That they use through Portland and surrounding areas, they cover the cost of our rentals here in the board as well, so they would be okay. And he is having a hard time to find a warm, dry lit space for practice over the winter. The players are in 4th to 7th graders and are still developing and do not have striking power of the adults who damaged the gym during the men's rental. We would, of course, emphasize to our players the care and respect for the facility to ensure that we do not damage the gym. They play with special indoor balls designed to stay on the ground, and it's rare that these balls, the kids are booting the ball above the height of the basketball net. Which is good, because right after that is the window. So, we train with the intention of moving the ball on the ground, using the borders of the court as out of bounds, not playing against the walls. Besides this being an ideal location for me and other Mosier families, it's also one of our last options in the Village area. They have no room anywhere. Next week, they will lose all light for outdoor practice and then have no place to go. So, and that was
That ship sailed, yeah,
and
that
he'd wanna rent it, it says, would like to rent the gym for 1.5 to 3 hours, 5:30 to 7 or 8:30 on Tuesday and or Thursday or open to other times. He would be able to train 2 youth teams and, a boys and a girls back to back, separate 1.5 hour practice on different days would work too, so. Anyway, that's where he's at.
I mean, I feel like it's really important to provide opportunities for kids to do constructive things with their time instead of being on the screen and be playing soccer. I personally would feel comfortable doing, like, giving Jimmy permission to use it for this season while we come up with a policy for future use. I don't know how others feel about that.
I would just say if maybe if it were after the play would be the only thing, just because they worked
Yeah.
so hard to make the sound quality good. And if that gets kicked with the ball, it would be so sad.
After, like,
Yeah.
for Christmas, after the winter.
So after the, so after December 13th.
That would be my only.
I should let it.
And if someone else, like a youth group of sorts, approaches us because they hear that they're, what will we say? I'm just, you know what I mean? I just
Yeah,
wanna make
yeah,
sure, I
we're-
wanna say yes, but I just wanna
Yeah.
make sure that we're.
We could,
Yeah.
I mean, or the policy committee can add it to our last few policies that we have to do.
Well, yeah, cause with the use, the forum to use at school, property was.
We do have
We
that,
have,
yeah,
we have.
So I think we could, yeah, just hold everything off of that.
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully get that. If it's spread away for June.
We could, I mean, we could tell them that we could, like, it's something that we could bring and vote on in December. We could go after that. I wanna say, like, he's very good about picking up outside.
He's great.
We're working on the condition of that. I told him, like, we're working on that. We talked about, like, he has provided a lot of service for our personals, like, our kids here, so.
When you offered coach for,
He's done a lot here.
Yeah.
He worked here at one point, and he's coached here now for a few years.
Yeah.
The top, which is great.
Yeah,
So currently, the gymnasium, it's $75 per use up to 4 hours, so it would be each day that he used it, there would be a charge of $75. That could help, so one thing that we still need to get in there are some acoustic tiles up on top, panels up on top, and that could maybe offset some of the cost of that. So,
yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
And if it were Tuesday and Thursday.
Dance.
No, I just think about the sound at our board meetings on those, so think about.
Oh.
We can watch them.
No, I mean, who knows? Yeah. maybe it's not-
Tuesdays.
People tell them, you have to be quiet.
Well, it seems flexible on the days, right?
or maybe
Go
go to a room.
Well, we talked
Yeah.
about we could actually, for the winter time, do it in music, like talk
Yeah,
about having
that's
a board
good.
meeting in the music room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it'd be
I knew music room, so.
cool, so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
as long
yeah, it
as
won't
there's
matter.
a liability insurance to,
He does have it.
pay for any damages.
Yeah.
And I think that would go for any other.
Yeah,
Oh, in your policy or whatever,
That would
just be like insured.
Yeah.
Anybody wanna pose a motion?
It's just to continue discussion, are we
Yeah,
in agreement that we're okay with people using it as long as they have insurance after December 16th?
13th.
13th.
I don't know, I personally think that we should like have the conversation as like under the policy umbrella and figure out what we're comfortable with for the long run. I also feel comfortable with renting it out to Jimmy, who's been a part of this community and kind of already knows the school as a like just an interim, while we're in this interim coming up with our policy.
Okay,
It's okay for the soccer club to meet here.
so the motion would be to allow Jimmy to use the gym for soccer, for youth soccer after December 13th, and to refer to the policy committee for further discussion.
Is the sound on the
That's what I mean, yeah.
outside, out in the gym area right
Second
now?
from McKenna, all those in favor?
Because they're worried about the
Motion
sound, but
Yeah,
it's behind the stage. isn't
There's
it?
speakers on the outside,
Yeah.
and then there's also
Refer
the
to
big
the
units.
policy.
Yeah, we're gonna
Well, the
refer
inside
to
we
the
probably
policy committee to make a
Yeah,
call
which isn't any different.
for.
Well,
been beat up, clearly, because
Yeah.
the session followed so fast,
Yeah.
so.
And so we'll add
That's
that.
what else is, the speakers, it was the
Oh.
connections.
Right.
And Nathan.
So that's why I'm like,
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna keep us moving and let's see, the next thing is, oh, this is interesting. I don't, never done this while I've been here. There are OSBA board elections and also, an election for the Legislative Policy Committee for position 2, which is the Gorge region. And we, as a board of Mosier Community School, are supposed to put one vote in on behalf of the board. So for position 2, you might remember that last time we had a letter from Paul Zastro introducing himself. There's also a candidate named Nicole Schott. I've got their forms right here if you want to look at them.
I've looked at it.
Look at them, great. Okay,
I've read books of them.
good, okay. Well, I've heard this homework. And then for the Legislative Policy Committee, it's Jose Aparicio from Northwest Beach One Board. So somebody that you're somewhat familiar with. And he's the only one running for that position from what I saw. And so I don't know exactly what the best process to go through. If folks want to have conversation about the 2 candidates. I guess we would like, I don't know, if people want to do it. I don't think that we have to necessarily do it in the open. I think if you want to email me who you would want to vote for, and then like we take the majority, I don't know the process.
One thing that I will say that's interesting is the Gorge region. It comprises Wasco, Sherman, Wheeling, Morrow, and Umatilla counties.
Interesting.
The river is part of the Clackamas region. So, I guess there's 14 regions. Well, again, that aspect.
Yeah, I thought it was also great that we had 2 folks who were willing to take on that work. Very cool.
Yeah, there's not a lot there to be able to make a decision. One candidate is Honda, worked really hard to, get rural people involved. And another candidate works for the County Gorge ESD. So I don't know if there's enough person to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah. You can
I've
look
made
at
my decision, but I don't want to influence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's that? Speak to why.
Why do you think, like, what?
What led you to choose one of them?
Oh, I personally found, Paul Zastro's experience and focus on equity and equality, really, compelling. I mean, they're both great candidates. I think that he, has worked for the River School District, is familiar, with this area, and also seems, conscientious of the other counties. Had maybe more to say in why we did know, in his responses. But like I said, I don't, they're both good candidates, and I would encourage everyone to read them and sit with them.
I did, but like you're saying, there isn't a ton to go.
Yeah, it's not.
Without knowing them or.
Yeah. He does seem like the more experienced candidate. Of the 2.
I wonder, just for the sake of time and also because we don't have, Julia or Billy here, maybe we don't have to put our vote in until December 15th. So maybe folks take a little bit more time to think about it, and then, we can circle back to it. Do you think it's okay process-wise to have each individual board member let me know who you would like to vote for, and then I tally it up and we go with the majority? And then we report that out maybe at the next board meeting?
We could do a current tally publicly. and
Sure,
Yeah, give it to her.
okay.
Yeah.
Do folks feel comfortable in a current tally? I feel comfortable with that too. Yeah, okay. So then, can I have those 2, can I throw them back? Okay, so let's see. Could I please see a show of hands in favor of voting for Paul Zastro Okay.
Like, I mean,
That was hard.
I'm like, 5 minutes away versus an hour and a half.
Okay, just do that. So I will also ask for input from Amelia and Julia, and then we'll make that suggestion.
Looks like it's done.
Yeah.
I know,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Math is not my strong suit. Okay, so I'll. Go. Yes.
Bigger for me to do the
That'd be
anyways,
good.
because, you know, then the.
No, yeah, no, good work. Okay.
Well, no, they both don't matter.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so, number 13 is MCS Board Secretary vacancy and election. Got a lot of elections today. Okay. Marie, do you wanna kick this one off?
Yeah, so, I, I joined the board, well, I was elected in May 2023. And was seated in June and was initially the treasurer, which I felt very uncomfortable with. And then, I was able to switch, around, and thankfully the area became treasurer and then I became secretary. Also facilities chair for a minute. So anyhow, I'm starting to kind of reach a point where, the minutes and the work of secretary is, something I'm not able to give as much attention and time to as I used to. And my term ends next June, so anyhow, I'm just, kind of wanting to express that I would like to transition out of the role of secretary. And I know it's not a role that like everybody wants to be secretary. And I know you all have a lot going on. So I guess what I would like to propose is, well, if anybody wants to step into the role, please by all means, you know, say so. Otherwise, I would appreciate if maybe we could rotate through taking this until the term ends. And maybe this could be the last meeting we'll take. That would help me out a lot. So I was thinking that, you know, obviously it's not possible for Emily who's leading the meetings to the meetings, but I don't know kind of people are going to take minutes in meeting, Tiffany, Dan, maybe I do. And then I will be compiling a Google Docs folder with the tracking of public meeting law training that the board has done, as long as it's along with a directory where it shows what years and folks on the board, their terms, the community with them, and some other forms. So, but anyhow, yeah, thanks for.
I would say also just to add a note to that is that you have very thorough minutes and it takes your time away from being able to be engaged in the meeting. And so the meeting minutes do not have to be as thorough as we've made them. So members, if you're interested in doing it, you can just take this and add notes to this about who proposes the motions and who seconds them, the vote, who's there for the day. So there's varying degrees and the history there. We had Susan Valley doing it forever, doing the minutes, which was awesome. You know,
People are thinking, are there gonna be minutes like Susan Valley used to take again? Okay, well, let's try. They certainly don't need to be like you said. So, yeah.
it's a record of what happened, not a record of everything that happened.
Is there anybody who does want to do it? Like, oh my God, it's not gonna be me.
No, I had a discussion with Marie and I said, it is something I will consider as my last term on the board. It's just, I still have a lot going on. I still have a child at home as well and a lot of things, but she'll go to kindergarten next year, so maybe this summer. We'll see, unless we stay, but if you decide not to run again and we get someone new, maybe they'll just love and want to be, but, if, yeah, I could do it, I just don't, I'm totally open to rotating and helping out like, for the remainder, but at this time, I don't wanna say yes, I'm gonna be this.
I will say that
That's where I'm at.
I am planning to leave the board also, my term is up.
Oh,
And it would be great if we hire for that role too. If there's one.
Advertising?
Yeah, yeah, that's the role that would be, they choose to fill.
Well, it doesn't have to be, so if somebody's
It can be
interested, like, it doesn't, what's that?
Yeah, do you have to have a secretary
No,
that,
but-
but the.
Just
well,
do the minutes.
The secretary has to do is in charge of the minutes, but they can delegate somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
So,
So no.
are there any employees who are interested in getting paid to come and do minutes here?
I don't know, we could certainly put that out there, so we could certainly ask for that, so.
I
That's kind
would
of
do,
what I thought,
I'll
but yeah.
do, I don't mind stepping up for that when I'm not chair.
Yeah, I don't mind with it.
But Veronica's was very like, you have to have somebody listed as secretary, and one of the things,
The bank,
yeah.
that's another
Because-
form that
yeah,
would be in the Google
yeah.
Drive.
And we also kind of talked about, waiting to change, because I know we need to move you off and put you on, and so until we get everybody kind of settled in where they're at, and not to make a bunch of bank changes at this time until because it's a process. It's a process.
So Maria, is it the whole totality of the job or just the minutes that you, so if we can sort the minutes out, can you retain the
Oh,
secretary
yeah,
position?
I can, 100%, it's the minutes, and I won't make them quite as detailed for this evening. So that, yeah, I guess that's my ask.
Yeah, the minutes.
The minutes.
Yeah, so I can put it out to the staff to see if there's anybody that we wanted to do that.
Well, it sounded like everybody was okay with the rotation
We can,
for now.
I'm okay with rotating, but it
Then we
might-
can.
might-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're still the secretary, it's just different people.
Delegating to different.
And at my, the secretary can delegate, so. But you know, I'm not the type of force people to do it. Well,
Motion,
yeah,
go.
but it is
Yeah.
hard. It is hard for me to try to participate.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be nice.
Is there somebody of the three of you who's willing to do it in December?
I'll do this.
Okay, Tip.
Thanks.
Okay, tips on for December, and then we'll check in at the end of December. Okay. Awesome, thank you. Okay, we are so close to being done with a very significant review of a lot of policies. So you'll see policies from the committee today, December, and then January. And then we're done reviewing 50 something, tons of policies. After that point, we'll receive the OSBA policy updates and we will bring those to the board when we get them. And then we'll just do updates of all of the general policies that OSBA is not updating as a consent agenda. So we're keeping things updated. Oh my goodness. So for today, policies, Chelsea, we asked you as the leader of the committee to read those up.
All right, so this is the first reading of draft updated policy. And the second reading will be at the meeting.
What?
So JB, equal educational opportunity. JBAA, section 504 students. JEA, compulsory attendance. JED, student absences and excuses. JEDA, truancy. JFA, student rights and responsibilities. JFC, student conduct. JFC, hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, cyberbullying, teen dating violence, or domestic violence. JFCG, JFCH, JFCI, use of delivery project, use of tobacco products, alcohol, drug, or inhalant delivery systems. which is baby.
Otherwise known.
JFCJ, weapons in the school. JFCM, threats of violence. JFG, student searches. JFG-AR, student searches. JG, student discipline. JGA, corporal punishment. We don't do it. JGAB, use of restraint or exclusion. JGAB, the AR, use of restraint or exclusion. And then, do we say the delete? That we're going to delete GBEBA dash staff, and that's the HIV, AIDS, or HCV or OSVA. The policy is being replaced by an updated policy. Oh, it was already replaced in April of 2024.
Okay.
So the second reading will be in December.
Good. Thank you. And then committee updates. We've already done a couple of these, but, Marie, would you like to report on the backpack program?
Okay. Well, thanks to Michelle, Lisa Stevenson, Sarah Breeze, and the remaining funds from last year's Triple Try. The backpack program began serving students October 13th. Unfortunately, the increase of families served this year was like 72% from last year. So last year, backpack program served 9 students and 5 families, and this week we're serving 24 students, 18 families. So that's 13% of our current student body. The good news is that now, last year we had about 6 volunteers. This year we have 10 volunteers. All are committed. And we also have some local partnerships that are really helping out. MoCo, all the teachers to bring to school, have a box at the entrance of MoCo where folks have been donating. And last week when we received word that a new student would be joining after the food order that we had been placed, we were able to send home a bountiful bag thanks to those who have shared. So that felt really good. And meeting up to the SNAP freeze, Michelle and community members, reached out and, asked, like, what can we do? What should we do? And the square account just created, I believe, in October 31st, right before the SNAP freeze took place. And 4 angel donors reached out from Mosier and went out and purchased 23, at the time of this, 23 students, $20 shopping carts to Fred Meyer. So all the backpacks that went home on October 31st had food and shopping gift card. And the Square account has received, I believe at this point, $2,150 in donations. And Brenna's Market reached out and has offered to buy food at cost for the backpack program. So anyhow, that is a discussion, and I need to, talk with Michelle and Brenna about that invoicing and for that, kind of find another way. So, we want to make sure that, it's something that can be taken on without burdening the school. And I know that the Tigers Den is also working on becoming its own 501c3. So anyhow, it's kind of figure out when to make that shift happen. In the meantime, Brenna's farmers market has become the hub for a new coalition that's formed of Mosier residents called the Mosier Tourist Coalition. And they have raised funds on their own and will be serving Mosier residents soon. And they have offered to deliver food over the Thanksgiving break to families that participate in the Mosier Community School Backpack Program. So there's a letter that's been drafted and I'll be sending it to Michelle for final approval, and it would go home in backpacks tomorrow. Tomorrow's packing day, and the letter will essentially, invite families who are interested to call one of the Mosier Tourist Coalition volunteers and let them know if they would like to receive a delivery during Thanksgiving break. And to text, information about the size of their household, if they would like to receive perishable items like milk, eggs, and what day delivery to take place. And of course, the information would be confidential and once the delivery was made. And the MCC would offer this to families again during winter break and during the snow days when school is closed and during spring break. So anyhow, this the backpack program I think is in good shape to run through until the end of the school year. Everything is set up for someone to take it on, next year. If the school wants to continue offering the program. So if anyone has any questions.
They've done a great job, and all the backpacks going home on Thursdays or Fridays have been very exciting. The campus is really receiving, and obviously it's very popular. You really grew that program.
Well, there's a nice, really solid group of volunteers, and they're all in it to make sure that it happens. So it's a big team effort.
It's also really neat because a lot of the volunteers are not parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything to report for fundraising?
Jogathon, we're gonna do the prize announcements tomorrow at the Tiger Rally, but essentially we raised over $11,000. Yeah. We are gonna add a flower sale during the play, so that kids can get their bouquets. Oh, that's fair. The actors, and so we'll be, putting out an announcement about that. People can do pre-orders, and so it's not full scale. And then, the readathon will begin in February.
Okay, what about facilities?
No, we kind of have covered anything, but unless Michelle, she's already given hers and then the plans, that's really.
We're good.
Yeah, once we get that music room, kind of like, slow down a little bit.
Take a breather before the pavilion.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 26-27 schedule committee.
So we did, mock up kind of a 4-day schedule. I don't know if I sent it out
You
to
did.
everybody. Okay,
No.
No, okay. So we can set it out that Julia would like to have a meeting in January to discuss, and when we had that discussion for the public would be, and then also not just, we talked about maybe doing a meeting in the Dow, like just trying to find some different meeting spots that we could have to make sure the things out. So if we have the calendar, we're still waiting on, buses. I think we're still kind of working on that, transportation. And then, we were supposed to meet, we got, like, Sarah Grace and I got a little bit confused. I thought the meeting was the week after Thanksgiving. She thought it was yesterday. We had so many meetings yesterday. We just moved it that way. And so we can kind of move on that. So transportation, what's going to happen on Fridays, and then the calendar. Sarah Grace's, gonna start working on the instructional time. I have it kind of mapped out already. The big issue is like, when our start time comes, is gonna be how much agency do we have in our transportation? If we're like really in charge of it, Sarah Grace actually thinks she might have a bus driver for us that is a CAT bus driver, and that he would be interested in driving the bus for us. So that would be a game changer for us. And that I think like tapping into that, the CAT system, because they have bus drivers that could sub if we needed to. So anyway, I think that there are lots of potential with that, so.
And so someone will be reaching out to schedule
Yeah.
a special meeting in
Yep.
January.
In January.
Or feedback.
And we'll see the sample schedule,
Yeah.
maybe, or not yet.
I can send that to you right now.
Right now.
No, it happened before, like, so.
Well, if I don't do it now, you might not get it.
But there will be lots more, like,
Yeah, just remember, this
More
is a draft
comments for you.
schedule.
Correct.
Yeah.
okay, and then, middle school vision and voice.
Don't have any updates, we haven't had another meeting since the last.
Anybody have anything from Tiger's Den?
Just that holiday fair, if you want to volunteer for that, there's a lot of things that needs help, that was just, we had a meeting today about just the holiday fair, there are a few more vendor spots still left, if anybody out there wants to be a vendor, and, I haven't looked at the turkey trot sign up. I don't know how that's looking, but I.
She went and did a radio thing today for it.
Sign up for that turkey trot if you'll be around and run or volunteer or make a pie.
Or buy that.
And I did.
Yes, or buy a pie, don't
I did hear from Mr. Strands that the kids will be singing at the holiday fair.
Good.
Yeah.
On Sunday from.
It was in the lull period of the.
Yeah,
fair. They were
yeah.
Wanting to bring people.
And that's just an old athletic trick that if you want, people, what we call butts and seats, that you invite, like dance groups and all sorts of stuff,
Yeah.
that all the parents have to come and watch, and so that's what we hope for.
Sunday at 2 or 2:15.
Yeah, it was in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Our kids are excited about having their own table space.
Yeah.
The kids are really pumped about that, like, because, was it Leo Schmidt? Like, he made bank last year. I
Or
think he made-
Cooper.
And
did that.
Cooper did, yeah.
70.
Yeah, it was like, what they were telling the kids what they made, they're like, yeah, sign me up, so, yeah.
Well,
I think
maybe
Elijah's
if you have
doing
extra.
that.
Find out.
Yeah,
More
more
kids
kids.
in the, yeah.
Okay, I think that is it for today. Sorry about going over.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you all.
Yep, good work.